How do I know if I'm successful? That's a tough question, and one we're going to answer this morning. Hi, I'm Aaric Eisenstein, the Avian Rebbe, and I teach Jewish wisdom seen in the beauty of birds. This morning we're going to answer exactly that. How do I know if I'm being successful? What does success even mean? These are tough questions, and ones that I'm really looking forward to exploring together as we wander and wonder on an interrupted walk. So stick around, come out to the trails with me. At the end, we'll look at 2 action suggestions, lessons from out here that we can bring into our own daily life and apply on a daily basis. Ready? Okay, out to the trails. A longtime supporter of the Avian Rebbe recently wrote me with a question. And it's a good one. I'll put it up here on the screen for you as we walk. I'd like you to take a look at it and think about it because I think it's applicable to all of our lives. I've come out to the park this morning to try and address this question because the answer isn't immediately obvious. So how do we resolve it? Well, for me, it means wandering and wondering. Coming out here to the park, being quiet, being reflective and insightful, and seeing if I can't come up with some kind of solution to this seeming conundrum. So as I walk out in the park this morning, I'm looking for little flashes of insight from the natural world, maybe with some divine inspiration, that help to illuminate these tricky questions. And as I'm walking along, I see a song sparrow. And the song sparrow, if you look closely at its beak, you'll see it's captured what looks to be a damselfly. In any event, it's breakfast. And when we think about what it means to have had a successful outing, certainly we would say that the song sparrow has. It has met its goal of finding something to eat. And maybe there's a lesson or an analogy that we can make to our own lives. So for example, we would all like to have a house. And if one is successful, one has a bigger house, or a nicer house, or a house in a better location, or multiple houses. It's a question of looking at the output. And as I walked along a little bit further, I came across another bird. And this one was getting ready for the hunt. This American kestrel is up in a tree preening. He's getting ready. He's doing the work. He is focused on the inputs that are necessary in order for him to have a successful hunt. So here, think less about the output, we're not there yet, and more about the input, the practice, the blocking and tackling, the dribbling, the agility drills, all of the things that go into early stages of success. So between these 2 birds, the song sparrow and the American kestrel, we've seen demonstrations of both considerations of what it means to be successful. One with an output that it was hoping to get, the other still looking at the inputs, enhancing its opportunities to go forward. These are the 2 traditional answers to looking at how we become successful. How gorgeous was that American kestrel? I know I shouldn't play favorites, but I do. It's my favorite bird. I hope you like it. Speaking of liking, hit the little like button, hit the subscribe button. What it does is it lets YouTube know that this video resonated with you and is the kind of thing that other people would like to see as well. I'd really appreciate it. Okay? Back out to the trails. But both of them, I would suggest, are static. They treat success as a state rather than an activity. And I think that is the key to resolving the seeming dilemma between focusing on inputs and focusing on outputs. When we look at success as being an ongoing process rather than a snapshot in time, that's when we're able to resolve the dilemma that is raised in my friend's question. Turning to tradition, we find the words of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, a rabbi from the Talmudic era approximately 2,000 years ago. And one of the most famous sayings attributed to Ben Zakkai is that you are not obligated to complete the work, but neither are you free to desist from it. Think about that for a minute. Essentially, what he's saying is that there's no way that we will accomplish everything that we want to accomplish. We will not finish the task that we see in front of us. And simultaneously, we have to engage in it. That's the essence of what it means to be us, to be human. Success, then, in my little way of looking at things, is about embracing our human nature, reflecting the divine impulse to create. It is not a question of focusing on outputs or focusing on inputs. Success is when we realize that to be human is to create, is to make, is to continue to better ourselves and the world around us. In that sense, so long as we are properly aligned with what it is that we are put here to do, then rather than saying we are successful, I would suggest that we instead say we are being successful. That little change in the verb tense, it's more than just parsing words differently. It really is a different way of looking at what it means to accomplish things in the world. Success is not a question of something that we achieve. Success is not a question of something that we hold in our hand or that we demonstrate to others, but rather success is the way that we live. Are we in fact aligned with what it means to be human as we are divinely inspired to be? In that sense, it becomes a rather easy question. We look not at our outputs, we look not at our inputs, we look at the process of how we live our life. And instead of saying, am I successful at something, we instead look at the totality of our life and we question whether or not we are living it in the way that we should, aligned with the ability to be creative. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this morning's interrupted walk. As promised, 2 action suggestions to help you take the lessons from this morning and incorporate them into your daily life. Ready? Action suggestion number 1. Look at your calendar. Look at your calendar and see how you spend your time. Look at the blocks. Are the blocks aligned with what it is that to you is the outlet of your creativity, that is the way that you can express success? Maybe not. It's hard. There's a whole lot of overhead. There's a whole lot of things that just have to get done. And what I would suggest is first, in this 2-parter, take a look, see how you're aligned, and if you're not aligned, that's okay. What you need to do, part 2, give yourself the grace to schedule things around the time that you have available. So if this isn't the week to be working on the great American novel, that's okay. Maybe it's next week. Maybe it's next month. Maybe it's next decade. The point is not that you always have to be doing what it is that makes you successful, but rather you have to be conscious of the things that you do and the definition of life that you would like to have. That alignment, that consonance, that's what this is all about. The calendar is a nice way to see how those things are matching up and whether or not they're misaligned. If they are, it's all right. Just be aware of it. Okay? Action suggestion number 2. Be careful in the language that you use in evaluating yourself. It's very easy to say, I am successful, or I am not successful. But perhaps a more meaningful way of looking at this question is, am I being successful? In other words, am I engaging in the ongoing kinds of activities that allow me to express the meaningful aspects of my life? That's a far different question than at this moment, or this moment, or this moment, I have achieved what it is that I want to have, or I have spent time doing what it is that I need to do. Success is a process over time and a way of living rather than simply a series of accomplishments all along the path. So be careful about that language. Think about other ways that you can parse the sentence. Look at an ongoing usage of the verb, and I think you're going to find yourself being in a much happier spot. Certainly hope so. Okay, I hope that you've enjoyed this morning's interrupted walk. I'll be back next week and invite you to come with. As I say, please hit the like and subscribe buttons down below. And in the description of this video, there's a way to find out about all of the various things that I offer as the Avian Rebbe. I hope that you'll do me the honor of signing up for my newsletter. It's free. It's called Birdie Goodness. And I look forward to seeing you soon. In the meantime, be grounded, fly high.